exactly 202 am. A phone on the bedside table begins to ring, an unknown number glowing in the dark. If your name calls at 202, don't answer before you listen. Tell me the hour and the room it happened in down in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more whispers. It starts with vibration, a frantic metallic shiver against lacquered wood that feels like fingernails drumming from inside the nightstand. The surface of the phone is unnaturally cold, as if it had been sleeping on ice. When it vibrates, it draws warmth away from the air, and the breath in the room becomes visible for a thin second, cloudy, white, and wrong. The caller ID is a blank, indifferent glow, an absence framed by black glass, and beneath the ringing, there is a low static, as if two radios are pressing their mouths together. When the sound cuts, something else remains. The lamp above the bed blinks once, slow and deliberate, and in that pause, the shadows along the ceiling pull taut like veins. You hold your breath so long your lungs ache. You do not pick it up. That choice closes a small door. The sheet beside you is colder now where your hand rested, and the mattress remembers the pressure of your palm after. The first stop, you pry the phone off the stand, fingers fumbling on chilled plastic. The speaker grills are rimed with a faint, oily condensation, minute beads that smell like metal and old houses, impossible in a dry apartment. You scrub at them with a thumbnail. The residue peels, but does not come off, as if it is part of the casing now. The static returns to the air without the ringing, a thin, insectal whisper between your ears, and the lamp flickers again, faster this time, throwing the wallpaper into breathing stripes. You walk to the window to check the street. The night is normal outside, sodium light pooling, cars asleep. Inside, the crawl of cold follows you, a deliberate slow that slicks along the skin behind your knee and up the spine. That coolness does not leave when you step away. It lingers like an invitation. You set the phone face down on the quilt, because it feels safer that way. A childish superstition dressed up as control. Time slows. The clock on the dresser ticks soft and assertive, every second a nail. As the minute hand nears 202, the air in the room collapses in temperature. First a draft, then a pocket of cold, like an opened freezer door, so sharp it pricks the inside of your nostrils. The lamp gutters, and the bulb breathes out light unevenly, painting your hand in fractured silver. Your thumb grazes the phone's glass, and the screen flashes, not with numbers, but with the ghost of your own name, letters watermarked and trembling, as if typed underwater. You recoil. The display returns to black, as though nothing happened. But your name has been said by the thing behind the silence. That sound, when it finally arrives in the dark, will be waiting with a blueprint of you already learned. You stand in a room that has been altered. The lamp hangs in a slightly different angle than before. The mattress keeps the cool imprint of your weight. The phone, now face down, seems to drink light from the lamp and exhale cold. Knowledge sits heavy and physical This is not a prank or a misdial. The ringing pulled heat out of the room and left a smell and a print you cannot scrub away. There is a new rule in the little universe of your bedroom. At 202, something presses a mouth to the receiver and breathes, and that breath robs you. You try to fold yourself into the blanket to fake sleep, but the light stutters and you hear, from somewhere close to the wood of the bed frame, a soft vibration like a throat clearing. Your skin goose-fleshes, the air tastes faintly of pennies. You turn the lamp off with shaking fingers. Darkness is immediate, cubic, and absolute, and the cold grows teeth in it, closer now, patient, waiting for the hour to make its next calculation. You learn to track the nights by the cold. The first morning after the second call, you wake with your fingers numb, the duvet a dead weight, and the lamps light bruised and weak. At 202, the phone on the nightstand vibrates like a small animal trapped, its surface sucking warmth from your palm when you pick it up. The caller ID is blank. Static sits under the silence, a silt of white noise. Between rings, you feel the air thinning, the skin on your neck prickling, and the hairs along your neck bristle like static. Nights blur into a dull stretch of waiting. You stop, leaving the apartment door latched, because you think any small sound will mask the call's approach. The cost is practical and immediate. You begin sleeping in daylight shifts. Your boss notices. An email asking if you are ill. A meeting missed. Sleep becomes currency you trade for staying inside the narrow, safe hours. The pattern is fragile and irreversible. You have already shifted your life around a phone that might be trying to teach you how to listen. On the third night, the calls lose all length, but gain weight, a vibration like a single bee against bone. The ring is there, and gone before your body can decide to move. The temperature falls in precise little increments, a slow ice crawling from knees to collarbone, and each time the speaker drips a whisper, impossible consonants, and then a scrap of your own name, soft as someone articulating a secret they learned by heart. You set a small voice recorder on the nightstand, because denial becomes a dangerous luxury. Pressing the red light makes you feel proactive, tactile, a plastic capsule of control in a room that otherwise narrows. You tape the playback and listen back with the headphones pressed to your skull. Inside the static, there is pattern, grainy texture, a half-formed imitation of your cadence. It echoes like a mirror scraping, not quite you and not you. Pause becomes a gamble. Type this in the comments. Tell us the hour and the room it found you in the fourth night. The answer finally slips through the grit. The call is a pinprick. You cradle the phone like a relic and say nothing. For a second, there is only your pulse in the dark, audible like a distant engine. Then the voice straightens into a sound you recognize too well, your inflection, the little lift at the end of your syllables. You think you will laugh, you do not. Instead, the air inhales around you and releases one hollow, breathless gasp, so close to the earpiece that the phone shivers. The reaction is physical. The LED on the recorder blinks, and dies the battery icon on the phone collapses from 90% to 1. More alarming, when you swipe the call log, the incoming entries have a new mark, a tidy row of dots, and the fourth is circled like a tally. A sudden metallic choke makes your stomach drop because you understand a rule you did not know. It counts. 4 small, inevitable ticks towards something mapped out in numbers. Now there is no pretending you are merely annoyed. The cold comes faster. It nests under your clavicle and tastes like old pennies. You sleep with the phone charging on the floor 3 feet away, its screen a pale moon you dare not face. You start leaving little scratches on the inside of the closet door, 4 marks, then a 5th, a record for yourself that someone else is keeping too. The voice on the line has shifted from mimicry to strategy. It tests tone, listens to the fissures in your hush before it learns which syllables pull you forward. Every mitigation births a consequence. Clients ask about your absence. The landlord mentions noise complaints. And a friend stops answering your texts because you will not stop talking about the calls. Irreversible things gather: lost trust, a changed schedule, a phone that will not hold charge when you need it most. You can feel the count tightening. There is a rhythm now under all the nights, the same slow tightening that begins and never quite releases. And you realize you are not merely being summoned, you are being prepared. At dawn, you pull the SIM free with trembling nails and bend it in half small metallic tear rings against your teeth. The act is stubborn and absolute. You have lost a lifeline, and the room feels colder for the choice. You answer. The screen brightens like a brief confession, and the sound that comes back is your own breathing, wider, rusted, as if filtered through old metal. But layered beneath it, there is another pulse, a slow, patient heartbeat that is not yours. The lamp over the nightstand fidgets, its light stutters against the plaster, and throws the cracked mirror in the corner into a barer, sharper relief. Cold seeps down the back of your neck, an icy hand sliding along the spine, and with that cold comes the first real change. The night is no longer only around you. It is on you, reflected, waiting. You hold the phone out and watch the mirror. The face that returns your glance is a version of you with hollows carved. Where sympathy should live, the skin is the color of old milk, the eyes too dark. And when you breathe, the reflection breathes a second afterward, an echo delayed, as if the glass keeps time with a different clock. Shadows peel off the corners of the room and collect in the mirror's black frame like dust gathered by a magnet. From somewhere just beyond the frame, a whisper threads itself into the space between your ribs, soft, precise, a hiss of consonants that shape the one command you had feared: answer or be taken. Your thumb trembles over the screen. You will not hang up. You cannot make your hand obey anything but curiosity and something like obligation. The echo of your voice begins to warp the room. Each inhalation sounds twice. Yours, then a rasp that crawls up from the glass, and rests against your eardrum. You press the phone tighter, and it grows slick. With cold sweat, the edges bite your palm. A faint metallic taste rises under your tongue. In the mirror, the other, you lifts its head and mouths words you do not move to hear. And when you do try to listen, the lamp blinks faster. A strobe turning the wallpaper into moving teeth. The air loses a degree of warmth with every second. The skin on your forearms prickles with ice. And in that drop, you feel reality shift. Answering is an act of alignment. The mirrored self is not mimicking, it is syncing. And every synchronized breath shortens. Whatever distance keeps you safe. Then, with the suddenness of a snapped wire, the reflected you leans forward and screams without opening its mouth. The sound detonates inside your skull. A high, keening intake that is somehow both distant and slammed against bone. Instinct jerks your arm. The phone slips from your fingers like a live thing and clatters against the hardwood. It bounces once, twice, registers a thin, rusty chime, and then disappears, skittering under the bed with a soft, metallic scrape. At the very same instant, something presses against your shoulder with gloved cold, a brief, crushing weight that forces air from your lungs and makes stars explode behind your eyes. You taste copper. You check your hand and find a small sting where the glass of the mirror bit you when you lunged. A nick that draws only the faintest wetness. The phone is gone. The line you tried to hold is now under the bed, and the room swallows the sound of its loss, rearranges the rules. With no phone you cannot call out, and the lamp has reduced itself to a shuddering, unreliable pulse. The mirror has widened in your perception, not physically, but functionally. It is no longer an object that reflects light, it mirrors intent. Your reflection fixes you with a patience that is surgical. When you step closer, your breath fogs the surface, and the other breath forms a thinner, colder fog on the other side, as if there is a cavity between you and it where winter lives. You press your palm to the glass. The touch is met with an answering imprint from within, as if someone else's skin presses to the same pane. The glass is cool and a little viscous under your palm, like touching water held still. Your fingers do not meet their match, but slide into a shallow resistance, and the mirror shows, beneath the other face's stoic stare, a second mouth opening to form a word you already know. Answer anger and dread braid into decision. Breaking the mirror feels logical. Destroy the portal. Stop the echo. But when you fling a fist, the surface takes the blow like a drum. Vibration without fracture. Splinters of sound travel up your arm, and the whole room vibrates with a humming pressure. A pale handprint blossoms on the inside of the glass opposite your own, aligned with yours. A clean, wet contrast on the inside surface, as if someone has just come close enough to leave a mark. The whisper returns, threaded now with a promise. Speak, and you will stay. Do not speak, and you will be taken for silence. You step back. The cold presses in from the mirror like a tide. You are no longer merely observed. You are expected. The choice collapses into one intolerable truth. You answered. And by answering, you opened a door you cannot close. I cut the power to the little trapezoid of light and feel the room inhale. The phone is off, cool and empty in my palm, the battery indicator long dead. The screen a smooth, cold glass that seems to steal the heat from my fingers. Outside, the radiator ticks and dyes. The silence swells like water in a pipe. I tell myself the device was the conduit, that turning it away will sever the line. But the memory of the mirrored eyes and the slow syllables of my name linger against the back of my throat. A colder air slides down from the ceiling, not draft, but deliberate, settling over my shoulders like someone leaning in to listen. At 202, something rings beneath me, metallic, impossible, as if a bell had been wrapped in wool and dropped under the bed frame. It vibrates through the slats and into bone. The sound has no caller ID, only the cadence of breathing layered under the chime. Slow, shallow, matching mine. 120, 120. I press my cheek to the mattress and feel the tremor travel up my spine. Dust prickles in my nostrils, and a dry copper smell blooms in the dark. The voice, when it comes, is all half-breathed syllables and my own inflections, rehearsing the sound of my name until it lands like a hook. I am rooted to the spot, the quilt weightless in my grip, as the caller's tone folds and tastes my name. Instinct fights with the logic I've rehearsed for nights. Don't answer, don't look, don't hand over a name. Logic loses when skin goes numb and something fingers at the edge of your sock. I swing my feet down and there is pressure, no claws, nothing wet, only a hard, cool palm closing around my ankle. Not a touch so much as a claim. The world narrows to the chill that spreads from that contact, a cold that erases the memory of warmth. And I understand the rule differently. It is not the answering that summons them, but the pulling of attention toward a small, reachable place. When I drag my foot back, my toes scrape across something buried under the dust. I cannot see it, only hear a scraping rhythm layered faster now, stuttering like a warped record. I try to crawl away. The sheets drag like reluctant sails. My voice won't come. Each inhale feels like playback, recorded and thin, an old laugh stretched and wrong. Then the darkness below the bed convulses, and whatever has been keeping its distance slams upward in a single, furious motion. A low, metallic chime detonates against the floorboards, and a weight hits my shins. A pressure blooms, and the room floods with sudden mechanical noise. I feel compressed air against my ear as something sharp and small and impossibly quick rakes past my calf, and the sheet is pulled taut toward the gap. My mouth opens, but the sound is not mine. It is thin and high and swallowed before it leaves. And when the impact recedes, I realize my voice is gone, a dampness where sound should be, a raw silence. The thing under the bed wants the shape of me. It will take what answers, and it will finish what a loop of ringing began. My fingers fumble across hardwood and find the phone at last, not in my hand, but on the floor 10 inches away, screen aglow, though its switch is still off, numbers carved into brightness, 202. The glass is hot, humming with a low, electrical vibration. My thumb smears oil across it. And for a moment, the face in the reflection is no longer my own, but a hollowed silhouette shifting at the edge of the light. It wants exactly 7 small borrowed nights. I don't scream because I cannot, and I don't fight because the pull is a policy, and the bed has laws that do not bend. The linen slides through my grasp, and the world tilts toward the square of burning time. My knee catches the edge of the frame, and something inside me gives, a small surrender that cannot be reclaimed. The bed's shadow folds over my ankle, and I feel the arithmetic of absence beginning to count me out. Each breath stripped cleaner than the one before. The phone lies face up on the floor, 202, white hot on its glass, humming like a heart in the dark dot. Tell me where it found you in the comments, and subscribe if you want more whispers.